Today's lesson is Chapter 12, Lesson 1, Line Plots. The main goal of this lesson is to be able to construct and analyze line plots. So basically to be able to make a line plot and then also to look at all the data in a line plot and be able to either describe it or find the mean of the data. All that stuff that we learned last chapter is what we'll do here, but instead with line plots. We have two terms, line plot and dot plot. So the first term, line plot, a visual display of a spread of data values where each data value is shown as a dot or other mark, usually an X. That should say above a number line. Above, not about. Sorry about that. And then we have dot plot, and it's just another name for a line plot. So most likely they're called line plots, but sometimes instead of these X's, they'll put dots instead. And so then it's called a dot plot. And then this is just an example of a line plot so that you could see that. Students in Mr. Cotter's class were asked how many after-school activities they had. Their responses are shown in the table. So their responses are right here. Use the data to fill in the frequency table. So our frequency table is going to be right here. So we're going to fill that in right now. And they've kind of started it for us. So number of activities is along this side. So how many had 0 as activities? Here's 1, 2. 2 zeros. So I'm going to use tallies. 1, 2. How many just did one activity after school? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many had 2 after-school activities? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to fill that in. How many had 3 activities after school? 1, 2, 3. And how many had 4 activities? 1, 2, 3, 4. So for it to make sense, number of 0 activities, that means you go home and you had nothing to do after school. How many of you had 1? Say you had track practice after school. 6 of you had track practice. 2 activities. Say you had track practice and then you had to go to religion. 4 of you had 2 activities. 3 activities. Say you had track practice, religion, and Girl Scouts. 3 of you would have that. And then say you had 4 after-school activities. Say you went to you had a community ed class with Mrs. Steinberg, and then you had track practice, and then you're in a second sport and you play softball, and then you also have to go to Girl Scouts. So that would be 4 activities, and 4 of you did that. So that's kind of what those numbers mean, is how many after-school activities you had, and then this number means how many people had that amount. Step 2. Turn the table so that the number of activities is along the bottom on the number line. Instead of tally marks, place X's above the number line. The X's for 0 activities have been placed for you. So remember, up here, 0 had 2, so that's why there's 2 X's. 1 had 6, so I'm going to draw 6 X's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 had 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 had 3. 1, 2, 3. And then 4 had 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's important to draw your X's about the same size so that when you compare, it's easy to tell. Because if I was to draw 2 X's this big and then 4 X's that big, it would be hard to see which one's bigger right away. But on the iPad here, it's kind of hard to make them perfect. So when you're doing it, make sure your X's are all about the same size. So there I have completed a line plot, or I could call it a dot plot. Javier asked the members of his 4-H club how many projects they were taking. The results are shown in the table. Make a line plot of the data, then describe the data in the graph. Okay, so I have my table over here. And then I'm going to create a line plot. And the nice thing is that they've already made that number line for us, so we can easily just plot the X's onto the number line. So I'm going to start with 0, and I see that I have only one 0, so I'm going to put an X above 0. Then I'm going to move on to 1. I see 1, 2, 3 ones, so 1, 2, 3. Then how many 2's do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then 3's. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 3's. 2 4's. And then 1 5. It says to describe the data in the graph, so I can see that if I was to describe it, I could say that there were a total number of people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I could easily say that there were 15 people. The amount of projects that were the most were 2 projects. So that would be like the mode, because it happened the most. There weren't any more than 5 we see, and there weren't any less than, or 0 was the smallest. So that's just kind of how you would describe it. Okay, this time they've given you a line plot that has already been plotted for you, and then you have to analyze it. So it says the line plot shows the number of magazines each member of the student council sold. Find the median, the mode, the range, and any outliers of the data. Then describe the data using them. Okay, so I'm going to find first the median. So in order to do that, I'm going to write out all of my numbers. So I'm going to use this to write my numbers. I have a 17, 2 18s. I don't have any 19s. How many 20s do I have? I have 5. So I'm going to write all 5 20s down. I have 3 23s, a 24, and 2 25s. Almost running out of room. Okay, so I'm going to find the median, so I'm going to go from here to here. I'm just going to keep going until I get to the middle. And so I can see that 20 is my median. So I found the median, I found the mode. That's super easy to tell because it's the one that's the most, and that equals 20 again. The range, the biggest from the smallest, so 25 minus 17, 8. So the range is going to be 8. And then any outliers of the data. And there isn't anything too extreme, but my lowest is 17 and my highest is 25, so I don't think there would be any outliers in this data. Okay, for our last problem, we need to make a line plot for the set of data. Describe the data, include measures of center and variability. Okay, so here are my data, and I need to make the line plot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first start with my lowest, and I see that I have 160, and I just have one of those, so that's going to go above my 160. Then I'm going to check if I have 170. I don't have any 170. How about 180? No 180, but I do have 3 185s. 1, 2, 3. And I don't have that here, but I know 185 is in between 180 and 190. So I'm going to put 3 of those here. Okay, I'm going to keep going up. I see 190. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right next to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I have 200. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. 2, 3, 4. And then I have 210. I have 3 of those. 1, 2, 3. So measures of center include the mean, the median, the mode, and the range. Okay, so you need to find all of those. Then the variability is Q1, Q3, the IQR, and check for outliers. So go ahead, pause the video, try those, and then I will put the answers up here, but make sure you pause it right now so that you aren't seeing the answers. Okay, so here I'm going to say the answers. The median is 190. The range is 50. Because you take 210 minus 160 and you get 50. Our mode is also 190. The mean is 193, and if I round it to the tenths, I get 0.4. The Q1 is 187.5. The Q3 is 200. So in order to find the IQR, I'd take 200 minus 187.5 and get 12.5. And the outlier is at 160.